Well, is it a prison for today's young women? Well, I guess we could say that there have always been standards of beauty. I mean, how do we work that? Joining me right now is life coach Seline Shenoy. And she has a website, SelineShenoy.com, SELINE, SHINOY.com. And I have it up on our KMED.com website. And she's the author of Beauty Redefined. And kind of some interesting questions that she's been posing about the Love Our Body movement, et cetera, et cetera. Celine, you live in Dubai. Welcome to the show. What time of day is it in Dubai, by the way?
Hi, Bill. Thanks for having me. Right now in Dubai, it's around 5:30 p.m.
Oh, okay. So you just had a little bit of coffee, a little bit of tea, whatever it might be, and so it's almost dinner time then.
That's right. I just had a cup of tea, actually.
Okay, oddly enough. Celine, you pose some interesting questions because there's a whole bunch of, and I've seen these on social media, I've seen them on the news too, body positivity campaigns, love your body as they are, et cetera, et cetera. You're seeing a lot of that. In fact, you say that beauty bias still has a major impact in our culture for women and their ability to succeed. Could you break that down for us? What's the story?
Well, actually, numerous studies have proven that beautiful women have many more advantages compared to, their more average-looking counterparts. According to various studies done on this issue, people from high school onwards perceive more attractive individuals to have higher intelligence, likable personalities, and have a higher potential for success. And this kind of creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. And we can see this form of favoritism play out in the workplace setting. Studies have shown that good-looking employees make 12% more money than their average-looking workers and are more likely to get hired. And psychologists call this the beauty premium. So essentially, the income gap between attractive and unattractive people it's comparable to the gap between genders and ethnicities. So this is a pretty serious and real phenomenon that's happening.
So this is the thing, not just someone complaining because they didn't get the gig here. Here's the challenge that we run into, I guess, when you propose maybe having some anti-bias program, let's say, is that men have had to deal with this too. I'm not a particularly tall man. It's pretty well known. Anthropological studies say that the taller a man is, generally the smarter or the more intelligent he is perceived to be, and the more he will tend to make. Fair enough?
That's true, yes. I mean, we're wired to be that way. In fact, every animal is they have a criteria for what they look for in potential mates. For some birds, it's about, how males dance, the kind of, the amount of territory that they occupy. And, in certain species of fish, it's about, whether they have certain colors or features. So, I mean, every species, every animal has a set of criteria that they look out for, and this includes us human beings as well. So this is instinctual, the tendency to appreciate physical attractiveness in the opposite sex.
So how do you fight instinct like that, in the workplace? Because I can tell you right now, having worked in various industries over the years, that one of the best ways, and I know this may sound totally sexist, but I was working for a place that sold golf course equipment back when I was a young man, and the first thing they did is that they hired a lot of very attractive sales ladies, and they did very well. And they sold better than the male counterparts then. I mean, so should we have a culture that says you don't hire attractive salespeople, or else you have to hire, really ugly salespeople in order to kind of, counteract it? When you're up against something as deeply embedded as instinct, what do you say about that?
Yes, I understand that, and I think that we can counter this whole cognitive bias that we have by being more conscious, by being more aware of when it happens. You got to stay objective when you're evaluating people. And in my book, I suggest that, as a society, we ignite a beauty revolution where we kind of change the whole paradigm of what it means to be a beautiful person, and more specifically, a beautiful woman. And I think that the best way to do that is to kind of get influences like, we should reform the education system and the media in a way to develop healthier standards of beauty, which draws the focus from a woman's physical attractiveness to her accomplishments and her character.
But you yourself has said, though, that this is going against that there's an instinctual attraction when it comes to the mating process or how we wish to get together. How do you do that through just the education process? It sounds to me like it's yet another societal bludgeon in the making. I understand
that, but you have to understand that we human beings, we're the only creatures on the planet that we have the ability to exercise agency and to be aware of what we're doing. We have that capability of recognizing these instincts within us, and it really comes down to having that awareness and being conscious of, this is happening right now. I could be, just being aware of how your perceptions might be blurring the reality of a situation. I mean, it's hard. There's a term for this. It's called the halo effect, and it influences the way that we form opinions about people that we encounter in our lives. We tend to form favorable impressions of an individual if we find them physically attractive, even
Makes
without
sense.
knowing anything about their personal character.
Yeah, and if someone is not physically attractive, we tend to ascribe, kind of dumb, sort of a loser, a loser sort of thing. Yeah.
Yes. So I think it really comes down to being conscious that we're doing this, and that's where education comes into the picture. That's where, building that self-awareness and be accountable for the way we are seeing the world and for our perceptions and for the lens through which we view people. So that's what really comes down to, and that can happen, Bill, if I really do believe that we're capable of doing that, but we just need the right kind of guidance for that to happen.
Seline Shenoy, once again, is with me. She's a life coach, also author of Beauty Redefined. We have the information up on KMED-AM if you wanted to find out more about it. Redefining Beauty. And the standards of beauty have changed all throughout history. It used to be, a few hundred years, we talked about the Rubenesque form, as you remember, for women, for example, in which you were considered extremely attractive if, let's face it, you were more than a bit chubby.
That's right. During the Renaissance and during the ancient Greek times, as recent as the 1960s, being curvy and being voluptuous was hot.
And now it is a bit of a different standard. It sort of depends on who you're talking to. But here's something I want to ask, and this is dead serious, all right? Might the love yourself, the love your body movement that you're kind of promoting or just discussing in Beauty Redefined, might it be nothing more than just enabling bad eating and exercise habits? I hate to put it that way, but I could stand to lose weight. I've always known about it, and I'm just wondering if this is just an attempt at fat people who aren't all that attractive to try to get a leg up. You know what I'm saying, and I say this as a heavy guy.
Right. I'm so glad you brought that up, and I'm definitely not condoning a healthy lifestyle, and I definitely don't approve of that. I myself am someone who I consider myself to be, very healthy, and I believe that.
Well, I saw your picture, and you seem to be quite attractive, which means you must be very smart.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just buying into your.
Thank you. No, what I'm trying to say is that a beautiful woman, she shouldn't focus on her dress size and her body type, because we all have different body types. Not everyone can be a size 0 or size 2 or have that typical model body.
Oh my gosh, practically nobody can be a size 0. Have you looked at America lately?
I mean, only 2% of the world population can look like that. That's a particular body type. So it's about making the best of what you got and take care of yourself. Be healthy. You got to radiate vitality, and that's what I'm trying to promote when I say, embrace yourself. I mean, you got to take care of yourself. And that includes your health and your well-being. I definitely, I was looking at Instagram, and I saw some very brave women, who you would consider, to be on the heavier side, and they were all about, love yourself no matter what you look like.
Right.
And they were a bit, I considered them to be a little bit on the unhealthy side. And I was just like, no, that's not what I'm promoting. That's definitely not what I'm promoting.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because, and I wasn't claiming that. But,
Absolutely.
I always suspect the people that say, hey, I was born this way. No, I eat too much and I don't exercise enough. All right. I'm at least honest with myself about it. I like eating food. I'm not going to.
Yeah, and also I want to mention that another thing that I'm really trying to get across is that beauty should not just be about how you look. It should be all-encompassing. It should be about your character, your morals, your compassion for others. How you display your talent, how you cultivate your passions. It's about your whole personality.
How do you fertilize the culture, though, in order to make something like that happen? Because you yourself talk about it. There's been so much instinct connected with standards of beauty.
Right, and as I mentioned before, we need to get key influencers on board, like the education system and the media. We need their help when it comes to redefining beauty. Having awareness campaigns, having self-improvement programs in high schools and colleges, and parenting workshops as well. I think we need to have more of that because parents, how they raise their kids. They're the key role models when it comes to self-care and when it comes to cultivating these principles of having a healthy body image.
How has social media helped or hurt this effort to redefine beauty? Any thoughts there?
Well, I think social media is really a double-edged sword. It really depends on how a woman, a girl, uses social media. If she's following a bunch of Instagram models and only reading celebrity gossip columns, then yes, it's going to hurt her, especially if she's not conscious of the effects it could have on her psyche. But on the other hand, if she's using it to stay informed about the world and support causes that are important to her, more of those noble things, social media could actually be a really good thing. So it really comes down to having that awareness and having the right guidance when it comes to how they use these tools.
Who do you think should set the beauty standard then, since you are the author of Beauty Redefined? Who do you think should set that?
Well, in my book, I created a fictional persona of a woman called True Beauty, based on the research I've done on women in several historical and literary narratives, such as the Greek mythology stories and Jane Austen novels. I've also studied various behavioral patterns of some of the most successful and happy women in the world to identify those constellation of traits and sensibilities that, lead to a life of balance, accomplishment, and fulfillment. And some of them include, as I mentioned previously, not identifying with her size and shape, but focusing on being fit and healthy.
Not being just being focused on the physical appearance. Just that. Not saying you ignore the physical appearance, but don't make it the one and only goal, really.
Exactly. And then prioritizing the development of her intellect and her personality. That's another important one. Being proud of her ethnic heritage, because a lot of women are ashamed of, their uniquely ethnic features. And kind of embracing.
My eyes aren't right. The hair is not what I would like. What I see is considered to be okay. I get that. I really do. Yeah, that would be very healthy. I'm out of time. I've really enjoyed this talk with you, though, because
I enjoyed it too, Bill. It was great.
You raised some questions that I hadn't really considered much here. And once again, Seline Shenoy, SelineShenoy.com. I have the information up on KMED-AM, and she's the author of Beauty Redefined. I have a link to the book there. And whether you'd like to take a look at it or maybe give it to someone, and working for a little bit of a healthier self-image. I just want to make sure you're not condoning bad, unhealthy behavior, but you got to get away of just, focusing on everyone looking like a model. I'm good with you on that. I really am.
Okay, glad to know that.
Thank you so much for having called the show this morning. We appreciate that. And be well in Dubai, okay?
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much.
Be well. Seline Shenoy, it's 654, KMED and KCMD in Grants Pass. This is the Bill.
KMED.
657. So I had a little talk with a life coach from Dubai. It's not every day I get a chance to talk to someone from Dubai. But is, working on fighting the beauty bias. The beauty bias, of course, that's an uphill battle. We've always had standards of beauty or handsomeness in society, too. But one question I asked her, and the reason I asked for it is, that, do you just want to get rid of this anti-beauty bias or this beauty bias so that you can just enable bad habits? Well, my next guest is going to be Dr. Marilyn Singleton. And what she's all about here is trying to get people healthier in a way. But she says that one of the biggest problems we have is that we're thinking that all we have to do is get into the healthcare system, and then we're going to get healthy. And then we let go of our own personal responsibility. She says, design your own system. We'll kick that around after news, rush, so much more. Taking your calls, too, 770-KMED. It's 657.